Life on the water, a dream harbored by so many. It began humbly, a tattered raft barely worthy of the name. But a year of relentless effort transformed it into something more. A haven where abundance reigned, and even poultry thrived. It's like a permanent wilderness retreat. And our story truly begins with Mr. Long's weariness of the endless grind, the soul-crushing overtime. He yearned for escape, a simple shelter built with his own two hands, a sanctuary shared only with his loyal dog. Forget those cookie-cutter, landlocked shacks. This was a different game entirely, floating on the river, cradled by the mountains, a testament to ingenuity and freedom. He felled bamboo stalks, each chop resonating with purpose, then launched them into the water, a jigsaw puzzle taking shape. Massive timbers, wrestled into place, formed a colossal deck, a stage for his unfolding dream. Sun-drenched hours were spent weaving mats, creating a comfortable living space under the open sky. For the actual dwelling, he chose stout logs, meticulously joining them with mortise and tenon joints, a testament to old-world craftsmanship. The preparation was indeed laborious, but this was a structure meant to endure. As the floating home took form, a surge of raw energy coursed through him. The logs, arranged at opposing angles, gave rise to a classic A-frame structure, a silhouette against the setting sun. Imagining the finished roof, he felt a surge of anticipation. He even devised a lever system to hoist the roofing materials into place, a dance of physics and determination. Time blurred, and eventually the roof was complete. Gazing at the vast, open space within, he recognized the potential for further expansion. His vision, a continuous, level wooden floor. Avoiding future corrections, his approach was one of painstaking precision. No shortcuts taken, only unwavering dedication. Free moments were savored, grilling river oysters over an open flame, the smoky aroma mingling with the fresh air. Work and leisure intertwined, the essence of this wild existence. Basic framework was now complete, rudimentary but habitable. Before nightfall, he erected a protective barrier against the elements, a bulwark against wind and water, and then, as a reward, he installed a sturdy wooden door. The makeshift abode was now a sanctuary. The dream of sailing the open waters was still distant, but driven by his vision, he refused to rest, each day bringing new improvements. A round window added a touch of whimsy, and a railing was essential for safety in the unpredictable aquatic environment. Potted plants brought splashes of vibrant life to the vessel. On another day, he resolved to install railings around the entire perimeter of the raft, a blend of safety and aesthetics. Fortunately, the surrounding wilderness provided abundant resources. Hollowed-out palm trunks yielded more materials for his floating haven. The tender shoots of the palm were replanted, a long-term investment, embracing cultivation as a cornerstone of this existence. The raft was progressively evolving into a suitable dwelling, but to elevate the quality of life, he continued to shape and refine, weaving bamboo strips for tiles and fashioning bamboo tubes for walls, swiftly constructing a small hut. But don't mistake it for a doghouse, it was a proper, fully functional kitchen. Given the unpredictable weather, a dedicated cooking space was indispensable. The days bled into weeks. Time for a well-deserved reward. He chose a solid piece of wood and sculpted. He carved it, and then fashioned a small metal plate. He carefully joined it to the body of a spear gun, securing it with screws. Was he building some kind of heavy weaponry? Hard to say and best not to ask. But the scene was undeniably intriguing. He crafted a makeshift diving mask and plunged into the river. Within half an hour, he had a bead on a large fish, estimating it to weigh perhaps 12 to 15 pounds. Temporary food concerns alleviated. Part of it would be smoked for preservation, and the rest devoured immediately as a celebration of his accomplishments. Such was life in the wild. Maintaining peak physical and mental condition was essential for endurance. Yesterday, Mr. Long had laid the foundation for his aircraft carrier and treated himself to some delicacies. Driven by the relentless pursuit of a better life, today he redoubled his efforts. Utilizing the pliability of bamboo, he swiftly crafted a dining table. A matching bench was, of course, essential. His workmanship was undeniably skilled. While living on the water, he was still free to scavenge materials from the shore, wood, minerals, just a little digging away. Dinner was soon secured. Outdoor living, as reality demonstrates, could be remarkably straightforward. Another day slipped by, and he was again brimming with energy. The aircraft carrier, he mused, was heavy, requiring significant exertion each time he needed to dock. To remedy this, he decided to swiftly construct a small escort craft, a vessel that could detach from the mothership for independent expeditions. In the wilderness, skills translate to limitless possibilities. The unique propulsion system, an innovative alternative to traditional rowing, transformed survival on the water into something akin to a leisure cruise. Its diminutive size combined with boundless energy allowed the craft to glide across the water like a dragonfly. After testing, he coated the base with natural paint, hoping to prevent corrosion. Just looking at this level of living, one is already interested to come over and stay for a couple days. With the addition of the small boat, transporting materials became significantly easier, conserving energy and time while simultaneously building muscle. Those bundles of bamboo were intended for expanding the aircraft carrier, attaching to the main body and creating a pontoon system, employing his familiar methods. In theory, the expansion was limitless, a continuous deck fastened with bamboo strips to prevent buckling. Simple and rustic, but utterly effective. The space in the center was rapidly enclosed with a wooden frame. What was he up to? It looked formidable, as the edges of the raft were encircled with bamboo. The sky suddenly unleashed a torrent of rain. Fortunately, it was midsummer, so the soaking was more refreshing than distressing. He lowered equipment into the water. A giant fish trap? It looked more like a miniature swimming pool. As long as he was happy, that's all that mattered. Once he started a project, it was hard to stop. He flitted from one task to another. In less than half an hour, he gifted himself a square-shouldered basket with a sunshade. It was both practical and stylish. The mountains and forests teemed with resources, as everyone knew. What would he gather today? Fresh, tender bamboo shoots, nutritious and delicious. He also discovered 2 fledgling birds at the base of a tree. Abandoning them would be a death sentence, so he took them along. He also gathered some wild cougars. A perfect meal was in the making, all natural and wholesome. But there was a more pressing reason for the trip. The crew on his aircraft carrier was too small. He needed to boost numbers. His strategy was simple, brutal. Construct a net trap. Success hinged on experience. He was hoping for the best and would let experience do the rest. Unexpectedly, he actually caught something, and it was a male and female pair. It seemed that from now on he could be self-sufficient in eggs. The trip proved fruitful. This lifestyle was far better than toiling away like a beast of burden. Now, take a close look. Was this a real wild chicken or just a prop? A few days prior, Wang An had captured a mating pair of chickens and rescued some baby birds. To integrate them into his little family, he naturally had to provide them with ample food and drink. The gap on the side of the deck was perfect for constructing a luxurious double coop. When it came to craftsmanship, Wang An was always reliable. The structures he built were not only sturdy but also aesthetically pleasing. A few broken bamboo strips and discarded pieces of wood were all he needed to construct a shaded area in a hybrid style. Its modern design and elegant appearance made even the dog envious. He also added a small, convenient door. In less than 2 hours, the chickens were sheltered from the sun and rain. It was clear that he was going to great lengths to make the eggs possible. If they were going to live here, the diet had to be luxurious. His next target was a fallen palm tree. Splitting it open would reveal the nutrient-rich core. He also collected some bamboo shoots, his favorite treat, although the distance to the shore was significant. Finding an affordable used vehicle on the market would be a great addition. Next, he prepared a nutritious meal for the chickens and baby birds, hoping they would quickly integrate. The hollow tree trunks were repurposed, fixed around the fish tank as natural flower pots, adding color to his life. Despite the rugged exterior, his aesthetic sense was surprisingly refined. Even in the wilderness, the joy of admiring flowers and raising fish was essential. Another month went by, and he continued to shape and refine, driven by the pursuit of a better life. Deliberately planning each step was the key to survival. Now that the fish pond and cage were complete, it was time to put them to use. Preferring a different approach from traditional fishing, he decided to dedicate some time to crafting a sustainable tool for long-term cultivation. It appeared to be a large, entirely handmade fish trap, guaranteeing quality. Setting up the frame would ensure effective catching. Now, let's see how he connected to Jinju. Weren't you amazed by this incredible skill? He put fish bait inside and left it to run its course. The greatest advantage of this tool was that it freed up his hands to do other work. Success or failure was up to fate. Unexpectedly, there was movement soon after setting it down. In just one afternoon, he caught 2 big fish. One he would raise, and the other he would definitely eat right away. After all, eating only bamboo shoots every day would make it difficult to get enough nutrition. It can simply be enjoyed with a charcoal grill. Keeping the original flavor intact was the key to staying stylish and pimple-free. A few more days passed, and the trees grew lush and green. To make it easier for them to climb, he thoughtfully built a vine shade. Whether there would be organic socializing was something to wait and see. But even if it didn't work out as expected, this structure could also be used to hang things to dry. In general, the benefits outweighed the costs. There were countless ways to live a long life in the forest, and the spirit of daring to create was always the best choice. Regardless of sunshine or rain, he worked hard every day for tomorrow. With no one to rely on, everything had to depend on his own 2 hands. Don't think those bamboo tubes were rotten and useless. In his eyes, they could still be used for another year or 2, and they would continue to be connected to expand his territory. Everything developed as expected and was full of vitality. Hua said that if he were given a woman, he could form a lineage. He gradually felt the warmth of family in the wilderness. Today, he continued to fight for a brighter future, taking advantage of the flexibility of bamboo to expand his aircraft carrier. Because of this, even in the middle of the waves, he could easily achieve freedom of cultivation. That's right, today he planned to sow some rice because it was the most stable source of carbohydrates. It must be admitted that his survival thinking was extremely clear, and every step was sure, knowing to think ahead and behind. His success was not accidental. In addition to his own working hands and intelligence, a favorable natural environment was also very important. Because the resources along the river were so rich, it was easy to exploit. Because the previous tube-shaped fishing tool was too cumbersome, he decided to change his thinking today. The improved compact and small fishing version could not only operate day and night, but also free up his hands to do other work. During his spare time, he caught a few more mountain crabs, which was really great. At this time, he was no longer surviving, but enjoying life. Half an hour passed quickly, and this time he not only caught 5 or 6 crabs, but also caught an 8 kilograms fish. It was a great harvest. His heart was excited, and his hands trembled. He immediately returned to camp. He would raise the carp for the new year, and the crabs would be processed today. Mountain crabs were crispy, and a bite would crush them. The protein content was 5 times that of beef. He felt extremely happy after eating. After a few bites, he decided to take a walk to digest. Taking the dog along, he immediately set off, walking around to the next mountain, and heading straight into the forest to explore when he saw a big crab by the stream. But he was tired of seeing this again after eating it. Even if the puppy wanted to eat more, it couldn't because there was too little meat and too many bones. Eating too much was bad for digestion and teeth. He would calculate later, and he conveniently picked up a few pieces of solid wood and bamboo and brought them back, and then drove the dongfeng to boat back full of cargo. This slow-paced and comfortable rhythm of life was exactly what he was always pursuing. Upon returning to the camp, he immediately expanded it, and stable development would expand his horizons. That's right, based on the old living area, he began to build the second living area. In the old way, he laid the wood neatly and then worked hard to cover it to make a canopy. As long as the corners were pressed tightly, the floating floor would quickly take shape. He continued to build a Chinese-style hut. The small house gradually became clear. He wasn't kidding, his craftsmanship was really enough to live in the wilderness for a long time. After a few chisels and knocks, the expanded area was also completed. The vegetables that were sown and planted earlier had also reached the harvest season. They were fresh,
The key here is
delicious,
getting the
juicy,
tension right
and
on these
completely
main
natural,
supports. Once it's
and they
secure, we
tasted
can start adding the
authentic when
greenery.
eaten. After resting for a while, he began the final step, dividing the wood and using bamboo to make partition walls. After just one afternoon of hard work, the cool shed was completely finished, with small, stylish curtains. If you sit inside and sip tea and enjoy the breeze in your spare time, then wildlife is no different. With a place to shade the sun and rain, the original temporary kitchen became redundant. Removing it not only expanded the space but also made cooking more convenient. Looking closely at each action of building a square and beautiful kitchen, it seemed that everything had been carefully calculated. Cooking later could also become a pleasure. He then started the meal after lighting the fire. Bamboo shoots cooked with snails only needed to be simmered to be safe. Okay, I understand. Here's the rewritten and significantly expanded version of the provided text, in American English, with a develop and expand style focusing on creative rewriting, details, and context. I will maintain the paragraph breaks and em-dashes. Here we go. This is aquatic living as so many dream of it. It all began with what amounted to a tattered raft, but after a year of unwavering effort, this man has not only built a life of abundance, free from the anxieties of food and shelter, but he's also managed to raise a veritable menagerie of domestic fowl and beasts. It's akin to a permanent wilderness retreat, a story that truly begins the day long decided he'd had enough of endless overtime. His only desire was to take his dog, venture out, and build a simple shelter. Compared to the cookie-cutter monotony of traditional cabins, floating on the river amidst towering mountains was undoubtedly the most high-end approach to living. You can see him carefully splitting bamboo stalks, setting them adrift, and then assembling them into a raft. He then secured the raft together using solid pieces of timber, creating a massive floating deck. Next, he meticulously fashioned a comfortable sleeping surface using woven nets. The living area involved a more elaborate process, using large timbers to construct a frame. Precise mortise and tenon joints ensured a secure and lasting structure. The prep work was undoubtedly complex, but it was a one-time investment for lasting comfort. Watching his creation take shape, Long seemed to gain boundless energy. Beams were arranged diagonally, forming the classic A-frame of a cabin. Once the roof was complete, it would be genuinely spectacular. He even devised a lever system to lift the heavier roofing materials. After an untold number of hours, the roof was finally finished. Looking at the large open space, it was clear the vessel possessed untapped potential for improvement. His immediate idea was to lay down a wooden floor, creating a level surface. He moved with painstaking care to avoid future rework. He was meticulous and serious, making sure everything was perfect. When he took a break, he grilled a few river mussels, a welcome moment of relaxation. Work and leisure had to go hand in hand to properly experience the wild. Currently, the basic framework of the raft was complete. Though the layout was rudimentary, it was certainly habitable. Before nightfall, he planned to erect fencing for protection from the wind and water, and reward himself with a wooden door. Thus, the temporary living quarters were finished. The vessel was still far from seaworthy, but he wasn't complacent. He continued to improve it day by day, striving for an ideal result. A round window added a touch of whimsy to life on the water, followed by railings, an essential safety feature when living on the water. A few potted plants added life and color to the floating home. On another day, he decided to install railings around the perimeter of the raft for both aesthetics and safety. Fortunately, the surrounding forests were rich in resources. He hollowed out a decaying palm trunk for additional materials. He even transplanted the young shoots of the palm, wanting to plant them, as developing a garden was the best path to long-term sustainability in the outdoors. Now the raft was gradually becoming more livable, but to attain a high quality of life, he continued to work daily, carving and hammering, using bamboo strips for tiles and bamboo tubes for walls, quickly erecting a small shelter. Don't mistake it for a doghouse. It was a fully functional kitchen. The unpredictable weather made having a dedicated kitchen a great benefit. Days turned into weeks, and it was time to reward himself. He took a solid piece of wood, carved and shaped it, and added a small piece of metal, carefully attaching it to the body of a spear gun with screws. Was he intending to craft a heavy-duty weapon? I can't say for sure, and I certainly wouldn't ask. However, the camera lingered on the spear gun just a bit too long. He then fashioned a makeshift diving mask and plunged into the water. After only half an hour of searching, he quickly locked onto a large fish, estimated to weigh 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 kilograms. This would ensure a temporary reprieve from food scarcity. He smoked some of the fish for preservation and cooked the rest for immediate consumption. Life in the wilderness demands that one's physical and mental condition be at their absolute peak in order to go far and prosper. Yesterday, Long completed the first phase of his floating aircraft carrier, and even treated himself to a few luxuries. To continuously improve his standard of living, he continued his efforts today. Utilizing the versatile nature of bamboo, he quickly assembled a dining table, inevitably followed by accompanying benches. His workmanship was quite impressive. Despite living on the water, there were no restrictions on venturing ashore to gather additional materials. Whether it was wood or minerals, a little digging was all it took. Before long, he had procured his evening meal. Reality proved that outdoor living could be quite simple. Another day passed, and he awoke with renewed vigor. Considering the considerable weight of the aircraft carrier and the energy required to bring it ashore, he decided to build a small escort vessel for independent excursions. In the wilderness, skill is the key to autonomy. Without a word, his unique propulsion system, replacing the traditional method of paddling, transformed a survival situation into something resembling a vacation. The small craft, combined with tireless ingenuity, allowed the boat to skim across the water like a dragonfly. After testing, he applied a coat of natural paint to the base, hoping it would prevent corrosion. The quality of life he had created was so appealing that one would be willing to move in for a few days. With the addition of the small boat, transporting materials became much more convenient, saving both effort and time, all while building muscle. Indeed, those bundles of bamboo were intended to expand the aircraft carrier, connecting to the main body and creating a pontoon using the old methods. Simple, brutal, and immediately effective. In theory, expansion was limitless. He laid the flooring precisely, clamping it together with bamboo strips to prevent bulging. It was certainly rustic, but remarkably practical. He quickly erected a wooden frame in the open space between the pontoons. It was hard to say what he was planning, but it looked rather formidable. As he enclosed the edges of the vessel with bamboo, a heavy rain suddenly began to fall. Fortunately, it was midsummer, so being drenched wasn't a problem. He lowered equipment into the water. Was it some kind of giant fish trap? It looked more like a mini swimming pool. But whatever, as long as he was having fun. Once he started something, it was hard to stop. He kept creating one thing after another. In less than half an hour, he rewarded himself with a square backpack, complete with a sunshade. It looked both dynamic and stylish. And as everyone knows, the forests and mountains are brimming with resources. Let's see what he intends to gather today. He harvested some fresh, tender bamboo shoots, packed with nutrients, and brought them back. Under a large tree, 2 small birds had apparently fallen from their nest. If left alone, they wouldn't survive long, so he took them too. He also gathered some wild roots. Today's menu was complete, consisting entirely of safe, natural ingredients. However, there was a more important objective on this trip. The number of companions on the aircraft carrier was insufficient and needed to be increased. His approach was simple and direct. Construct a net trap. Success or failure depended entirely on experience. Let's wait and see. Incredibly, he actually caught something, a male and a female. It seemed he would be able to become self-sufficient in eggs. The trip was undoubtedly fruitful. This lifestyle was far superior to toiling away as a workhorse. Now, take a close look. Are these truly wild chickens, or are they merely props? Several days prior, Long had captured a pair of chickens and rescued a few baby birds. To help them integrate into his small family, He had to provide
The
them
key
with
here
ample
is getting the
food and
tension
water.
right on these main
The space
supports.
along
Once
the
it's
side
secure,
of
we
the
can start
deck was
adding the greenery.
perfect for constructing a luxurious double coop. When it came to craftsmanship, Long was always reliable. His constructions were not only sturdy but also aesthetically pleasing. With just a few broken bamboo strips and damaged pieces of wood, he was able to quickly erect a stylish sun shelter. The modern design and elegant appearance were such that even his dog wanted one. He also added a small, convenient door. In less than 2 hours, the chickens were no longer exposed to the sun and rain. It was undeniable that he put a great deal of effort into ensuring they could lay eggs for him. Since he had invited them to stay, their diet had to be top-notch. His target this time was an old, fallen palm tree. Splitting it in two would reveal a nutrient-rich core. He also grabbed some bamboo shoots, his favorite snack. The journey to and from the shore was quite far. It would be ideal if he could find a cheap, used vehicle on the marketplace. Next, he prepared a nutritious meal for the chickens and baby birds, hoping they would soon integrate. He also repurposed hollow tree trunks, securing them around the fish tank as natural flower pots to add color to his life. Although the appearance might seem rough, his sense of aesthetics was actually quite refined. Even in the wilderness, the pleasure of admiring flowers and raising fish was indispensable. A month passed in a blur, and he continued to carve and hammer daily, striving to improve his quality of life. Calculating each step and advancing gradually was the right way to survive. Now, the fish tank and the chicken coop were complete. It was time to put them to use. Compared to traditional fishing methods, he preferred a different approach. Taking advantage of the beautiful, breezy weather, he decided to invest some time in creating a lasting tool for effective cultivation. At first glance, it appeared to be a large, entirely handmade fish trap, guaranteeing quality. Erecting the frame was all it took to catch fish effectively. Now, let's see how he connects all the parts. Aren't you amazed by this incredible skill? He placed bait inside and let time do its thing. The greatest advantage of this tool was that it freed up his hands to do other things. Success or failure was up to fate. Incredibly, there was movement soon after it was set. In just one afternoon, he caught 2 large fish, one to raise and the other to eat immediately. After all, it's difficult to get enough nutrition eating bamboo shoots every day. Simple charcoal grilling was the way to go. Preserving the original flavor was the secret to his youthful appearance and clear skin. A few more days passed, and the plants were thriving. To make it easier for them to climb, he thoughtfully erected a sun shelter. Whether he would get organic produce was still to be seen. But even if it didn't work out, the structure could be used to hang things to dry. Overall, the benefits outweighed the drawbacks. There are countless ways to live long-term in the forest, and a spirit of innovation is always the best choice. Rain or shine, he continued to strive for a better tomorrow. With no one to rely on, he had to depend on his own 2 hands. Don't think those bamboo tubes are useless and rotten. In his eyes, they can still be used for another year or 2. He continued to connect them to expand his territory. Everything was developing as planned and was full of life. It was once said that if you give a man a woman, he can build an entire civilization. He was gradually feeling the warmth of a family in the wilderness. Today, he continued to fight for a bright future, utilizing the flexibility of bamboo to expand his aircraft carrier. Thanks to this, he can easily achieve the freedom to cultivate even in the middle of the water. That's right, today he plans to sow some rice, as it is the most stable source of carbohydrates. It must be admitted that his survival thinking is very clear, every step is firm, and he knows how to calculate the consequences. His success is not accidental. In addition to his hard work and intelligence, a favorable natural environment is also very important. Because the riverbank is so rich in resources, it is easy to exploit. Because the previous tube-shaped fish trap was too bulky, he decided to change his thinking today. The improved version is compact and small, can operate day and night, and frees up his hands to do other things. Taking advantage of his free time, he caught a few more mountain crabs. What a joy! At this point, he was no longer surviving, but enjoying life. Half an hour passed quickly, and this time he not only caught 5 or 6 crabs, but also an 8 kilograms fish, a big harvest. His heart raced and his hands trembled. He immediately returned to camp. He would raise the carp to eat at Tet and deal with the crabs today. Mountain crab is crispy, one bite after another, protein content is 5 times that of beef. He felt extremely happy after eating. A few bites were gone, and he decided to take a walk to digest. He immediately set off with his dog and took a walk to the mountain next door, going straight into the forest to explore. He found a big crab by the stream, but he just had some, so he didn't want to eat it. Even the puppy can't eat it because there is little meat and many bones. Eating too much is bad for digestion and teeth. He put it aside for later and conveniently picked up some solid wood and bamboo to bring back. He steered the dongfeng boat back, loaded to the brim. This slow and comfortable rhythm of life is what he has always pursued. When he got back to camp, he immediately expanded. Stable development is key to broadening the horizon. That's right, based on the old residential area, he started building the second residential area. As before, he laid the wood neatly and then made a roof, and compressed it to make the floating floor quickly take shape. He continued to build a Chinese-style pavilion. The small house gradually became clear. Not kidding, his skills are indeed enough to live long-term in the wilderness. After a few taps with a chisel, the expansion was completed. The vegetables he had sown before were ready to be harvested. Fresh, juicy, and completely natural, with an authentic taste. After a short rest, he started the final stage, dividing the wood and using bamboo as the partition. After an afternoon of hard work, the pavilion was completely finished, with small curtains and an impressive style. It would be perfect to sit inside, sip tea, and enjoy the breeze. Wildlife is not that different from normal life. With a place to protect from the sun and rain, the original temporary kitchen became redundant. Removing it not only expanded the space, but also made cooking more convenient. Looking closely at his movements in building a beautiful square stove, everything seemed to have been carefully calculated. In the future, cooking may become a hobby. The fire was blazing and he started to eat. Bamboo shoots were cooked with snails. As long as they are cooked thoroughly, they are safe to eat. Time passed by. Wang On had lived in this water area for a few months. As the saying goes, one works as hard as a buffalo his whole life and still doesn't get to rest. He took care of everything from eating and living and relied on his own 2 hands. Although he had achieved some success, in order to improve his quality of life, he continued to work every day. Today it was raining heavily, so he stayed at home to make new things, making torches and containers from bamboo tubes, and connecting them with bamboo poles and branches. It would be a fence and a place to grow flowers and grass, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He has always valued greening, and it looks full of life. Pride filled his heart as he looked at the ever-improving results. He didn't waste any of the excess scraps. Maximizing the use of everything was the essence of outdoor living. He peeled the bark, accurately drilled a few holes, and it became a neat and beautiful shelf, and added a small door to add style. With it, the kitchen was no longer cluttered. When the sun was shining and the wind was gentle, he leisurely went fishing, not only to let the fish bite the hook, but also to prepare for dinner. Thinking about grilling the fish made his taste buds tingle, so he tried a new way today. Fresh fish wrapped in young bamboo shoots. The combination of mountains and rivers creates a simple elegance. The dog jumped up and down happily at the sight of the delicious food. Looking at the natural fishing ground in front of him, his mind quickly raced. He would go big when he was free. That's right, building a net was the right way to completely solve the problem of fishing. He carved a few needles and started weaving. Anyone who has woven a net knows how important patience is. If each stitch is accurate, the net will be durable. He spent half a day weaving the first net in his wild life. By the way, he patched a few holes in the deck. As a result, the living area has been expanded again. Another day passed, and he finally started to actually fish. But instead of the traditional netting method, he preferred a different trick. For empty frames were attached to a rotating shaft, and the old rolling frame was used. Simply pull the net out, and it can be released and collected in one go, which is quick and efficient and saves effort and time. So, now the question is how to get the fish underwater to crawl into the net. That's a great question. Everyone knows that fish are easily attracted to light, so just hang a few small lights and they will gather together. The main thing is to use intelligence to dominate. It's that simple to be able to eat fish freely in the wilderness. The small fish were immediately fried until they were soft. Adding some chili peppers you planted yourself makes the flavor perfect. Would you be fascinated by a man who is both handsome and knows how to enjoy himself? Yesterday he made a spicy and sour bamboo shoot fish dish that everyone who ate it will remember forever. Today he worked faster than ever. Thanks to his superb knitting skills, he rewarded himself with a small basket and started collecting goods again. He had been wandering on the riverbank for a long time, so today he decided to go deep inland. Unexpectedly, he opened the door to a new world as soon as he left. The bamboo shoots in the deep forest were bigger and fresher, and he also discovered beautiful ruins on the mountain. As he was looking around, he heard a noise. It turned out that there were two young animals crying in the cave, and if he left them alone, they would definitely die, so he immediately took action to rescue them. They were so lovely that he named them Dayton and Erden, and gave them a hearty breakfast, officially making them part of the family. There were new members in the camp. Although these cats and dogs bring spiritual value, it also means a few more mouths to feed, so he had to collect food more often. He also picked some wild fruits, caught some mountain crabs, and found countless foods that were delicious and nutritious. It was a great harvest. While it was still early, he rolled up his sleeves and started to work manually. Cutting wood and hitting it non-stop quickly made a large pot for planting more trees, because the area needed to be greener. There will definitely be a multi-course meal tonight. It is truly happy to have such a diverse meal in the wilderness. Although the appearance is not very beautiful, the taste is excellent. The atmosphere in the camp is warm and harmonious, with the true meaning of happiness. A new day begins, and the rice is gradually sprouting. Looking at the results of half a year of hard work, pride filled him. In the free time early in the morning, he made something new. The bamboo tubes in his hand quickly turned into a tea tray. Then he cut another section of bamboo and made a pot. Although the appearance is a bit rough, it still meets the standards of use. By the way, he picked some small melons. Today he decided to reward himself with fish from the pond. Thanks to his stable development, he didn't have to worry about running out of food. He changed the cooking method to make himself happy, so he didn't feel lonely living alone in the forest. This quality of life was entirely due to half a year of perseverance. Time has passed for a long time, and the Dongfeng boat is about to retire. While it can still be used, he decided to go and collect some good wood. He decided to rebuild it. Eager to replace his old watercraft, he sought to build a new war canoe. Spotting a fallen log, sturdy yet pliable, he recognized its potential and selected it as the primary material for his boat's hull. He lopped off the ends, keeping the straightest section, and commenced the long process of carving and shaping. Patience, he knew, was paramount in crafting a durable vessel. Thorough preparation would prevent future troubles. He gathered special tree branches to use as natural adhesives, enhancing the boat's strength. This was a labor-intensive undertaking. Lacking blueprints, each step required careful mental calculations. Still, his boat-building skills seemed quite professional. After joining and chiseling, the boat's bottom took shape. He then added bulkheads to the hull, like the load-bearing frame of a house, ensuring overall integrity and extending its lifespan. While the method was rudimentary, it proved instantly effective. Traditional techniques couldn't be ignored. Each plank fitted snugly, gradually revealing the boat's form. He meticulously smoothed the surfaces to reduce drag, increasing speed and conserving paddling energy. With a makeshift canopy added, the boat was nearly complete. Entirely handcrafted, it was sure to last 3 to 5 years with proper maintenance. Indeed, his craftsmanship was remarkable. Everything was ready, and he eagerly launched it for testing. Theory, as everyone knew, must be paired with practice. And so it was. The new boat moved smoothly. Its streamlined shape minimized drag, and it carried heavy loads with ease. Compared to the old Dongfeng destroyer, it was far superior. Yesterday, he had put all his effort into successfully building a sturdy wooden boat. From now on, his waterborne life would be greatly improved. Just then, the rice planted months ago was ready for harvest. The whole landscape was filled with vibrant, peaceful life. Happiness overflowed. He harvested the rice, bundle by bundle, and laid it out to dry. The thought of soon eating white rice filled him with excitement. He fashioned a simple thresher to separate the grains. Unexpectedly, he could enjoy the joys of harvesting rice amid the waves. In his spare time, he gathered snails. Their firm, chewy meat, combined with organic vegetables, was even more delicious. What seemed like an ordinary meal, he transformed into a creatively appealing feast, full of energy. He showed off his handiwork, leaving Big Dan and Little Dan in awe. Weaving strips together until they formed a flat surface, he tightened the corners, revealing a huge sunshade. Yes, he planned to use it to help him enjoy his fragrant new rice meal. A set of handy tools was, of course, essential. With this specially made rake, the rice he had grown could evenly bask in the sun. From planting to harvesting was no easy task, and before long, it was time to gather and dig up a sweet, fragrant cassava and pick more oil tea fruit, rich in oil. As he was busy, he unexpectedly discovered strange spoils. Unsure if they were props or real, but he took them all. Another great harvest brought him joy. Now his camp resembled a zoo, with various birds and animals well cared for. They had all become a family, kept together in a chicken coop until they became accustomed to each other before being released. Of course, rice remained his top priority. To quickly enjoy white rice, he began crafting a manual rice mill, using ancient wood-shaping techniques to make a container, then using his skills to build a man-powered pestle. Putting them together created a rice milling device. Whether he could enjoy fragrant, soft rice depended on this. The greatest benefit was being able to share some of the food with his livestock, allocating resources most efficiently. In the blink of an eye, he had lived in this watery region for over half a year, now well-fed and clothed, whiling away the day's woodworking, enjoying a leisurely life. Despite the lack of internet and electricity, his passionate heart couldn't be stopped, and he rewarded himself with a handmade pillow. Today, he would definitely cook a pot of new rice. To eat this rice, he had toiled for half a year, proving that with diligence, one could live comfortably even in the wilderness. The separated rice bran went to feed the fish, nothing was wasted, and the sight of the white, glossy grains was delightful. Instead of eating it immediately, he thought of sharing some with the chickens and small animals, saving the best part for himself. A bowl of white rice, though seemingly ordinary, held great significance for him, representing his sweat and labor, accompanied by some gathered green vegetables and freshly caught fish. The evening meal was lavish. The snakehead fish he had just caught was pan-fried until golden and crispy. The quality of life was so extravagant that even the neighbors would be envious. The next morning, it turned cold, but the animals he cared for were still healthy and lively. The scene was peaceful and full of life. If he had a partner, life would be complete. As usual at 10 a.m., he took his dog into the forest to find something, and suddenly made a new discovery, observing closely that a tree hollow held something mysterious. Surprisingly, it was a beehive, pure, unadulterated forest honey, one sip of which could make you giddy all day. But he didn't rush to eat it. He thought long-term, realizing that being consistently full was more valuable than one big meal. So he decided to make artificial beehives to raise bees for honey long-term. A few broken planks were put together to form a sturdy beehive. He made some support frames, carefully removed the honeycomb from the tree hollow, and transferred it to its new home. This method, while not fancy, was authentic. Washing his face to look his best, he decided to face this delectable meal with his most handsome appearance. Another day passed, and to diversify his cultivated area, he cleared more land, gathering some prepared materials and quickly starting to expand the boat canopy, joining wooden strips together. After some carving, he had several complete cubes. It was unknown what he planned to grow, so he asked everyone to guess. By now, he had lived in this watery region for nearly a year. To mark the end of this journey, he decided to treat himself to a feast. Yes, although his rustic life was not over, this series of recordings was coming to an end. It was unclear why he stopped posting, but there was no need to worry. His survival skills were outstanding. From having nothing, he had built a seagoing vessel. Every effort yielded worthy results, proving that what you sow, you reap, even in the wilderness. Music. Music,